Hello students, I am Professor Namrata Hampiodi from Department of Commerce and Accountancy. Welcome to the Company Law and Administration class. So we are dealing with the third unit, that is Key Personnel and Administration. In the previous class we have seen about the appointment of the directors and the types of directors. Now in today's class we are going to see some of the powers which are given to the directors along with the few legal things which are related to the directors. So today we are going to see the powers of the board, that is here the powers which are given to the directors. So the power of directors are set out by the articles of association, that is it is mentioned in article of association of the company, wherein they are classified into the specific powers and the general powers. So in the specific powers, here let us see them one by one. So in the specific power which is given in the articles of association, the first power says that the directors have the power to make a calls on shareholders in respect of the money unpaid on their shares. That is, as we know the process of share that is collecting of the share capitals, whenever the shares are purchased by the shareholders, they don't make the amount or the payment at the time, right? The first will be made on the application, then on the allotment, then on the calls. That is the amount which they have unpaid, they have to pay it to the company. So here the directors have the right to make a call on the unpaid amount of the share held by the shareholders. That is, they can call up and ask for the money which is unpaid by the shareholders. And they have here the power to issue the debentures, that is by issuing the debenture they are collecting here the amount or the funds for the company in the form of the debts or the loan. Then they have the power to borrow the money other than the debentures. So whenever there is necessary to raise the finance, they have the power to borrow money, but other than debentures. They don't have your authority to raise the debentures here. Then the power to invest the funds of the company. Here they have your power to invest the money of the company in some profitable projects. Then the power to make a loan, that is to make a loan or to raise the funds. So these are the specific what you can say the power which the director have received from which are mentioned in the articles of association. Next, coming to the other powers which are given to the directors here. So beside mentioned like in the specific, the Companies Act have other several sections that will provide the power to the director. So here the first here is to appoint the directors, that is through the casual vacancy. Those can even take or fill up the vacancy for the appointment of alternate directors or additional directors, right? So we have seen in the yesterday's class who are these alternate directors and additional directors. So here they are given the authority or the power to appoint them. Then to give a consent for the certain contract in which the particular directors, the relatives and the firms are interested. That is here giving the permission to enter into the some contract, right? So the board of so here directors are given authority to deal with some of the contract. In such case, here the director have a full authority to give the consent or the permission to enter into the contract with the parties whoever is interested. Then to receive the notice of disclosure of shareholdings of the directors. So here even the directors are holding the shares of the company, that is even the director purchased the shares of the company, and here the director have full power to disclose the information about the directors, those only who are holding the shares here. Then to receive the notice to disclose of the director's interest in any contract or agreement with the company. That is, if the other directors who have entered into the some other contract or agreement which are relating to the company, then that information will be disclosed by the director. That is the power which they have here, that is to disclose the agreement or the contract of the other directors with the company. And here to appoint the managing director or the manager, a person who is already the managing director or the manager of other company. So here if the person who is already a managing director or a manager with some other company, right, the same person can be appointed as a MD or a manager of your company. That is done by here the director. Okay, so here director has that power to appoint them here. Then next here is to make an investment in companies in the same group. That is, it can invest the amount so that the profitable returns are received to the company. So whatever is making beneficial or whatever is beneficial for the company, within the limit, the director have that power to take a decision or exercise his rights here. So apart from this, they even have the power to appoint a person managing director if if he is the managing director or the manager of one or more company, as we have said here. So here they can go according to the rules whatever given to them, or whatever restrictions or limitation are there, within that they have to exercise their powers here. Then next, coming to the restriction on the power of the board of directors, right? So as when there is a freedom given, the same way there is even a restrictions. So same in the case of director also, they have given the powers here to appoint the directors and to call for the shareholders and disclose the certain matters, and to appoint the other company manager here, and to make a loan and issue the debentures. Same way they have a certain restriction here. Restriction to what? Restriction here to sell or lease or dispose the whole or substantial the whole undertaking of the company. That is, any matter of the company, he is not allowed to sell them or either to give them at the lease, that is the asset of the company will be always given on the lease, or they have to dispose. This authority is not given to the director here. Next here, to remit or to give for the repayment of any debt due to the company by the director, except in the case of renewal or the continue of an advance made by a banking company to the directors. That is, so in case of the repayment, like if anyone have to repay it to the company, or if the company has given some amount to the other person and they have to make a repayment, in such case he cannot give an extension or he cannot give a time for the repayment whenever it is due. That he cannot say that yeah, you can give it easily, like you can give it in later or the future period of the time. He don't have that power here, right? So the time which is for due for the repayment, they have to pay in that time. And in case of the renewal or the continuation, exception here is in the case of renewal or the continuation of an advance which is made by the banking company to the directors. In that case, he has a power to issue them. Then next, coming here, to invest the amount of the compensation received by the company in respect of compulsory acquisition of any undertaking or the property, right? So here he cannot, without making the consent, he cannot acquire any property here. Okay, and here he cannot even invest the amount of the compensation received, right? The amount which is received as a compensation in respect of acquisition of undertaking properties, those amount he can't invest without the consent here, right? That power is not given to the director. Then next, he doesn't have a power to borrow the money in excess to the aggregate of paid up capital of the company and its free reserve. So here the paid up capital of the money will be fixed by the company, and which is mentioned in the articles and as well as memorandum. He cannot borrow or he cannot take the money which is excess of that from the shareholders or any of them who are investing in the company. And he cannot even contribute to the charitable and other fund directly, which is not directly relating to the company or the welfare of the employees. So he cannot go or bypass the company, or he cannot go indirectly and give the money as a charitable here. Okay, so that power he doesn't have here. Next, along with the powers and restriction, now let us look into the duties of the director. So these duties are to be followed compulsorily, or they have to compulsorily go through these duties, or they have to perform these duties. So they are classified into the two, that is statutory duties and the general one. So let us look into the statutory. So when we come into statutory, these are the compulsorily duties they have to follow, and these are the legal duties which they need to follow. Then they have to perform this. Then the first here is to act in accordance with the articles of the company. That is, when he was being appointed as a director, during the appointment he was specified that these are your duties and responsibilities you have to do, that is, which are being mentioned in the articles of the company, and he have to act within that bracket only. He can't act less than that or more than that. He have to act according to the articles which is given to him. Then next, to act in a good faith in order to promote the object of the company for the benefit of its members. So when he becomes a part of the company, he has to always think on behalf of that company or the betterment of that company. So whatever the work is taken by him should always benefit to the company. So whatever the action he takes should be in the favor of the company. He shouldn't mislead, or he shouldn't do any fraud to the company. So here he should have a good faith to promote the objective. So his intention should be always to promote the company and to benefit the members of the company, so that in the members even he will be included here. Then to act in the best interest of the company, its employee, shareholder, community, and for the protection of the environment. So here these all together, that is employee, shareholder, community, these are called here as a stakeholders. Okay, stakeholders. So these are the people who are directly or indirectly benefiting the company. So with regard to them, he should act in their interest. That is, it has to look for the betterment of the people who are associated with the company. And then to exercise due and reasonable care and skill. Just a minute. Yes, and here to act at best interest, that is, he has to look for the betterment of the company here. Then here, to avoid direct or indirect conflict of the interest, that is, he have to avoid the conflict here. Then next, to avoid the undergain or advantage either to himself or the partners who are associated with him. That is, he have to stop thinking or like what is advantage to me, that is in a wrong manner, and he has to stop thinking that what gain he can get out of the work he does and other person who are associated with them. That is like thinking selflessly. He shouldn't think in the selfish way. Whatever he is doing the work, that should be in the favor of the company here. That is, then not to assign his office to any other. That is he has a certain powers or the rights which are given to them, so he shouldn't give that power or pass, or should allow anyone to interfere in his matter. So that is, he shouldn't give his office to the any other person here. So these were the what you can say, the statutory duties which are followed by him. Then coming to some of the general duties. So these are in the general, which need not to be told or which need not to be given in the writing. So when it comes to statutory holdings, in that case those are written in black and white. That is, they have mentioned those duties have been mentioned in the papers, but these general duties are out of your common sense. It has to be followed, right? So first one is here fiduciary duty. That is, fiduciary duty here is the duty of the trust here, right? So when you are appointed as a director of the company, that is on the basis of the trust what they have kept on you, the trust that you will do better for the company and its members, so that he should maintain here, right? So here the director will occupy the fiduciary position in the relation company. So here they must observe utmost good faith towards the company here. That is, they must be obedient and they must honestly exercise their powers here. The next, duties of care, skill and diligence. Then here the director are expected to carry out their duties with a reasonable care. That is, you should be very careful when you are exercising your powers. Your step what you have taken, that shouldn't wrongly impact on the company here. So here diligence is at whatever good knowledge you have, that is a good status you have to maintain, and then you have to exercise your powers. Then next, the duty to attend the board meetings, right? So the board meetings are taken for to take a certain important decision. So the presence of the director is here very important, as the decision they cannot take their decisions individually. They have to compulsorily attend the board meeting, and they have to keep whatever their point of view, and then the decision will be finalized. They don't have any authority here to take the decision by themselves here. Then duty not to delegate, that is, it is a duty of director to perform the duties personally and not to delegate them to the other person. That is, you shouldn't pass on to other, like you have yes, certain duties are our duties, right? We only have to perform them. You can't give it to other person to do that, right? In order saying that yes, I am a director, why I should do this work, let others do. That is not a manner to work here, right? His duties and his responsibility, only he has to manage it. Then next year, duty to disclose the interest. That is, it is also the duty of every director that at the board meeting he should disclose the nature of his interest in any contract or the agreement he has entered, or like he is going to enter in the future on behalf of the company. That is, whatever decision he has taken, or if he is entering into any MOU, that is memorandum of understanding with the others, he has to disclose that matter in front of the other members in the board meetings. So these were the general duties which are followed by the directors. Then coming to the other important points which are associated with the director, the first here is liability of the director, right? So when it comes to the liability, let us clear this meaning. Liability is wherein there is an obligation wherein you have to return or you have to pay back. So here in case of the director, they don't have any personal liability as long as they exercise their duties set out the earliest in articles. So here they are not being there is no burden of the liability personally to the directors here. But in case of non-executive directors, which include an independent director and nominee director, they will be held liable only in respect of act such as omission or the commission by the company which had occurred with the knowledge and attribute through the board possessing, and which is in a consent or they have been not acted deliberately. That is, in case of only the executive, which includes the independent and nominee directors, we have seen these nominee directors and independent director are out of the regular directors. In case if they have failed to operate their duties, or if they have failed to perform their duties, only in such case they will be held liable here. Then coming to the retirement of the director, right, we have already seen that the portion of 1/3 and 2/3 here, right? So wherein the directors are being permanent and they are being retiring, and in the 2/3 the director retire on the rotation basis, that in every general meeting, right? So here also 1/3 of the total member of directors for the time being are liable to retired by the rotation and have to retire at the each annual general meeting here. Okay, so there is a provision wherein these directors retire for the time being by passing the special resolution. And anyway, 2/3 of the member will retire on the basis of the rotation. So wherever there is a retirement of the director, there is a special resolution which is being passed, and then only they can retire. Then coming to the next is here resignation of the director, that is taking back or coming back from the position of the director here. So there is no special resolution or what you can say regulation in the act in regard to the resignation. that is, there is no specific format for that. So here in case of his resignation, here the judge may be a law largely governs, that is here the directors, the under this under the section, a non-executive director can resign by addressing the letter, that is giving to the letter of to the company that they want to resign, and that the director concerned is also required to forward that resignation letter within the 30 days, that is the other director who is concerned. Then the resignation will be forwarded. After the 30 days of the receiving the letter, the company can relieve the director here. Then here the further like the already the director is being resigned here. So in that absence of that director, here the power is given to the promoter, and in their absence the central government will appoint the required number of director who will be holding the office till the next general meeting and appointment of the director here. Okay, so in case of the resignation, if that place become vacant, then the next director comes here, the central government will appoint for the director. Then the vacation of the office of the director here. Here the section of 167 of Companies Act specifies the situation in which the office of the director will stand automatically vacant. Okay, so this is generally in the line of the section of 283 of existing act, with the exception that if a director is convicted, that is if he is for any offense, or if he is in imprisonment, then in such cases for 6 months the office of the director shall stand vacant, even if he files an appeal against the convention, right? That is the office of the director will remain vacant, or there will be no director in case if he is being imprisoned for the certain fraud or the mistake which is made by him. Then the removal of the director. So here removal of the director, if they want to remove the director, then it should be noted that removal should be by the resolution only. Okay, if they want to remove some director, then they have to pass some special resolution. A single shareholder cannot give the notice for the removal of the directors, right? So here any shareholder, he can't directly say that I want to remove this director, right? They have to be passed a special resolution, and the removal of the director can be moved only by the shareholders or the shareholding the requisite number of the share with the voting power. That is, who are having these are removed only by the shareholders who are holding the maximum number of the shares and have a power, voting power. Then this have to be done in the general meeting by passing the special resolution, and this has been covered in the act, Companies Act 2013, under the section 111. Okay, so these were the other important points relating to the directors. So from the beginning of this topic, we have started with the who are the directors here, that is key personal manager. In that we have here director. Okay, so director, under again we have here managing director, whole time director, those are the types of directors here. But in general we have seen here who is the director and what definition of the director, number of the director, what are the qualification required to be the director, appointment of the directors, then types of the directors, then the power which is given to the directors. Then after that, in power we have seen the specific and general power and their duties we have seen. Then other important terms which are relating to the director, that is their liability, retirement, their resignation, their vacant and the removal of the directors. So and these all were about the only directors. So in the next session, upcoming session, we are going to see the other key managerials, that is we are going to look about the managing director, right? In the director, the one type is here managing director and whole time director or the manager, then CEO, and then the company secretary. So I hope you are clear with the today's class.